Now, it's unfortunately fair to say that a movie's success is most often down to how effectively it's marketed, because a misaligned marketing campaign can make sure that even a masterful movie will fail to connect with the masses. And then there are those films that are marketed heavily on the basis of a gimmick, be it 3D, an enticing mystery, or another highly specific element which the studio believes will appeal to viewers. But sometimes a film is just good, even great despite a campaign that sold it, and is actually lessened by the marketing gimmick that's attached to it. So let's take a look at them today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 movies that are brilliant besides their marketing gimmick. Number 10. Putting 3D in the movie's title. DREDD. DREDD is one of the most baffling box office bombs of the last decade. Despite being budgeted at a totally sensible $45 million and receiving largely positive reviews from Judge Dredd fans and critics alike, the comic book reboot tanked at the box office, grossing an appalling $41.5 million worldwide. Now, several reasons were cited for this, such as audience disinterest in the IP following the 1995 Sylvester Stallone starring Dud, but for many, the culprit seemed to be the film's rather goofy marketing campaign. For some reason, somebody at the studio decided that in addition to being presented in 3D, the film would be released in cinemas with the title DREDD 3D. Given that the 3D craze was already waning by 2012, for many it made the film sound like a schlocky attraction full of heavy-handed, silly 3D effects that would supersede the story and the characters. Considering that the dimensional designation was often tacked on to titles of ridiculous 3D movies like My Bloody Valentine, Piranha, Step Up, Jackass, Saw, and A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas, it just didn't suggest that audiences should take DREDD seriously, and so they didn't. It's frustrating that a boneheaded marketing decision cut the film's box office out from under it, especially as the vast majority of people who have ever seen the film didn't actually see it in 3D. Though DREDD was, to its credit, shot in real 3D rather than being post-converted, it's really the least interesting part of the entire movie. On its own merits, it's a ludicrously entertaining, ultra-violent retooling of a classic comic property. Number 9. Telling audiences not to spoil its big secret. The Crying Game. When a movie hinges its marketing campaign on a big surprise, it's always worth being wary, because this can often be marketing shorthand for a studio knowing that they've got a dud on their hands and are trying to disguise it with an alluring mystery. Neil Jordan's iconic 1992 thriller The Crying Game was memorably sold on the strength of its big twist, with trailers telling audiences that nothing is as it seems, while posters quite emphatically calling it a movie everyone is talking about, but no one is giving away its secrets. It was a brilliant marketing hook that absolutely worked, making the film a sleeper hit at the box office before it received 6 Oscar nominations. But beyond the marketing centered on just one aspect of the story, a twist that we won't reveal here in case you haven't actually seen it still, The Crying Game is an exceptionally crafted and frequently surprising piece of work that's by turns exciting and unexpectedly affecting. In retrospect, you can't really blame Miramax for clinging to the most attention-grabbing aspect of the film, but the big reveal has been so widely dissected and parodied in general culture that it's easy to forget that there is a superb film unfolding behind it. Number 8. The mystery of What is the Matrix? The Matrix. Not entirely unlike The Crying Game, the marketing for The Matrix focused on its focal enigma. What is The Matrix? The original teaser trailer quite ingeniously showed off a flurry of stunning shots from the film with absolutely no context whatsoever. No dialogue from the movies, no voiceover narration, nor any text to speak of. The trailer ended by directing the viewers to whatisthematrix.com, a website that actually didn't do a whole lot to demystify what audiences had seen, but only sent them further down the rabbit hole of mystery. Now, this approach could have easily backfired, or been a cover to compensate for a film that didn't make a lot of sense, but The Matrix, of course, became a massive word-of-mouth hit as viewers told their friends about it. As Morpheus himself says, you really do have to see it for yourself. Now, The Matrix was one of the first films to take full advantage of the internet's potential to help sell a movie to the entire world, and in this case, it helped that the movie also happened to be a stone-cold masterpiece in its own right. Number 7. Releasing the trailer without a title, or much other information. CLOVERFIELD. No filmmaker does the what's in the box quite like J.J. Abrams, who as a producer of 2008's monster movie Cloverfield spearheaded a marketing campaign centered around what audiences didn't know. In July 2007, the iconic teaser trailer for the film was put in front of screenings of Transformers, confirming the existence of an unseen monster, but in a radical move, didn't even give away the movie's title. The teaser release caused a feverish buzz online, and fans speculated on whether or not it might be a live-action Voltron movie or a new Godzilla Godzilla film, amongst many other things. The anticipation reached a fever pitch thanks to an extensive viral marketing campaign, including a complex alternate reality game and a passionate fan community that entertained every last possible fan theory. The kicker, of course, is that Cloverfield actually ended up living up to the astronomical levels of hype, delivering an uncommonly diverting riff on both the found footage and monster movie genres. As much as Abrams is rightly pilloried for his deference towards mystery-infused marketing that the projects themselves don't often quite live up to, Cloverfield largely delivered the goods. Number 6. Making audiences demand its release. Paranormal Activity. Paramount's handling of the original Paranormal Activity is nothing short of marketing genius, emphasizing the supposedly real nature of its scares, but even more brilliantly focusing on the scarcity of available screenings. Paramount slowly expanded the film's release in the US and around the world, first showing it in a number of college towns where they recorded audiences' reactions, which were then memorably shown in the movie's trailers. As word of mouth from preview screenings began to spread, Paramount insisted that audiences had to go online and demand screenings in their city, and if it received 1 million demands, the film would roll out nationwide. FOMO, or fear of missing out, is one of the most compelling psychological phenomena that can be exploited when marketing, well, pretty much anything. Nobody likes to feel like they're missing out on what everybody else is talking about, and it worked perfectly here. Now, Paranormal Activity ended up playing wide in the US and around the globe, where it grossed an unthinkable $193.4 million against its mere $15,000 original production budget. Better still, it felt like a massive breath of fresh air for the found footage genre at the time, and though its many sequels soon enough ran the formula into the ground, the original's lo-fi inventiveness still makes it hugely watchable even today. Number 5. Pretending it's all about Liam Neeson punching wolves. The Grey. The trailers for Liam Neeson's 2011 thriller The Grey, selling it as an existential meditation on grief and man versus nature that actually is, but rather promoting it as a film where Neeson just punches a wolf. Given Neeson's prior reinvention as an unexpected action hero, the film's marketing team couldn't resist but lean into it and place excessive focus on an apparent showdown between Neeson's hero John and a wolf. The trick worked well enough given that The Grey easily tripled its budget at the box office, but it also racked up a so-so B- cinema score, which fell well below Neeson's more typical action joints, suggesting audiences had been misled about what they were seeing. It's frustrating that the marketing was so desperate to misrepresent the film as a more conventional action flick, because aside from all of that nonsense, it's extremely well crafted and is a surprisingly affecting drama about man's survival against the elements. Number 4. Circulating copies of the cursed videotape without context. The Ring. The marketing for the 2002 Hollywood remake of the 1998 Japanese horror film Ring was absolutely genius. Copies of the film's infamous cursed videotape were mailed out to video rental stores and even placed in random locations, such as atop of people's cars, with the tape containing no explicit references to the film itself. Even TV spots which showed clips from the tape didn't name-drop the movie's title until much closer to release. But combined with the number of impressively convincing fake websites about the movie's events, word of mouth quickly did the rounds about The Ring. It would have surprised absolutely nobody if the remake turned out to be a soulless, cynical cashing in on the Japanese original that used clever marketing to distract from a very poor product. So it's a pleasant surprise that Gore Verbinski's The Ring is genuinely good. Hell, it's a great horror film. Beautifully filmed, superbly acted by Naomi Watts, and absolutely living up to the chilling legacy of its lower-budget predecessor, The Ring 2002 is basically the standard bearer for any English-language remake of an international horror film. Number 3. Exploiting the audience's FOMO. Avatar. When people express surprise that James Cameron's Avatar grossed $2.847 billion despite leaving no cultural imprint, they clearly don't remember how cleverly the highly anticipated blockbuster was marketed. Buzz around the film had been building for years, focused on the mystery of Cameron's new IP and the innovative new technology that he developed to bring his vision to life. And of course, this was Cameron's first film since Titanic that was released an entire 12 years earlier, which was enough to make it an easy sell to audiences. Given that we live in an era where most huge movies are wildly overexposed in their marketing, Avatar was a major breath of fresh air. The first official still wasn't released until about 4 months prior to its release, and the first trailer just a few days later. The trailers ultimately didn't give away much at all either, focusing instead on a strange new world, as well as the eye-popping visual effects and Cameron's legacy of classic films. FOMO was heavily leaned into, marketing it as a must-see 3D event that everyone would be talking about. And they certainly were, for a few months at least. Yet, as fashionable as it is to rag on Avatar today, it's still a mesmerizing feat of cinema in a lot of ways, taking a simple, elemental story and encasing it in one of the most spectacular technological flexes Hollywood has ever seen. If you genuinely think that Avatar 2 is going to be a box office flop, be prepared to eat a healthy serving of humble pie. Number 2. Convincing people it's actually real. The Blair Witch Project. The horror movie marketing campaign to rule them all must surely be the Blair Witch Project. After the found footage film's premiere at the 1999 Sundance Film Festival, it was quickly acquired for distribution and became an intensely buzzy title as its release approached later that year. This was in large part due to the film's groundbreaking viral marketing campaign, which began months before its premiere and played itself 100% straight. Above all else, the film's website, trailers, and posters suggested that the film's 3 main cast members were actually missing and that the film itself was a real found recording. The studio even went to the extent of having the actors be listed as missing, presumed dead on IMDb, and encouraging them to maintain a low profile during the movie's initial theatrical run. Released in 1999 when the general public was still relatively new to the internet, the Blair Witch Project's fake websites were easily believed by many, allowing the unnerving mystique of the titular entity to spread like wildfire. The result was a phenomenal return on investment, as its estimated $300,000 budget netted a worldwide gross of almost $250 million. On top of that, the Blair Witch Project is a terrifically terrifying piece of work, perfectly exploiting the audience's fear of the unknown and letting their own imaginations do all the heavy lifting. It's not for everyone, but it's perhaps the purest and most creative entry into the entire found footage genre. And number 1, urging audiences to hang on for Stallone's heart-stopping stunts. Cliffhanger. 1993's Cliffhanger was understandably marketed on the full-throttle appeal of Sylvester Stallone placing himself in high-wire peril for our entertainment. The trailers couldn't fixate enough on shots of his life on the line, and most famously of all, making a frankly ridiculous leap over a gorge accompanied by the memorable tagline of "Hang on!" Cliffhanger's award-winning marketing campaign belied the fact that it was also a surprisingly good movie, making the most of its peak-era action star, unique setting, and sweaty-palmed action to deliver a highly entertaining action flick. Cliffhanger went on to gross over $250 million worldwide against a $70 million budget, ensuring that it became one of Stallone's sturdier hits of the 90s. And considering that it could have so easily been all sizzle, no steak, it was refreshing to see a Stallone tentpole that backed up its flashy marketing with strong filmmaking craft. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 movies that are actually great besides the marketing gimmick. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. Before I go, though, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, my friends, because you deserve all of the best things in life, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? You're a massive ledge. Now go out there and smash your life goals today. I believe in ya. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.